Everyone, Connor on Chain, we're back. Gonna be talking about anything and everything Bitcoin DeFi today. A bunch of different stuff that's been happening in the market. We got BRC20s, SRC20s, Stacks ecosystem, Merlin Chain. We got, all this stuff going on. Just want to cover some of this stuff. Get it on your radar, just so you guys can see what's going on, stay in the loop. So let's dive in. So I want to start off by bringing this up here. So if you guys follow me on Twitter, I'm active on it pretty much every single day. And I actually reposted this. So billionaire hedge fund CEO Dan Morehead. And if you guys don't know who Dan Morehead is, he's the CEO of Pantera Capital. He's one of the big boys. Anyways, I'm not going to go into it. But he's talking about bringing DeFi to Bitcoin is now a $500 billion opportunity. So this to me begs the question of, just the entire Bitcoin DeFi sector. As far as I feel like a lot of people in this whole market are still sleeping on this very hard. But to hear like a big boy really start talking about this, bringing this up, this is kind of interesting because so obviously I love BRC20s, stamps, anything on Bitcoin itself, a lot of these UTXO meta protocols. But something I have never been a huge fan of is, I guess if you want to call it stacks or layer 2s on Bitcoin. Basically like layer 2s or ETH layer 2s that are here to assist with growth on Bitcoin. But I honestly have been completely changing my mindset on that. Because again, this brings the question to me. If we're going to see a ton of money start flowing into Bitcoin DeFi, I really think that there's going to be so much room to grow in every aspect of Bitcoin's growth. Because with Bitcoin itself, when you're dealing with these meta protocols, there's no smart contracts. You can't really do much at all with them. Like, I guess you can do a little bit. You can do some stuff, but in comparison to like what you can do, and especially bringing like real DeFi that's, already on ETH, stuff like that, and bringing it onto Bitcoin, that kind of begs the question here as far as like Bitcoin DeFi, what is going to be, mainly just the narrative going into the bull run. And that's kind of what I want to bring up everything today, because I look at it, we got BRCs, UTXO model stuff that's literally built on top of Bitcoin, uses actual Bitcoin blocks, for data, for transactions, for whatever. But then you got like stacks and other layer 2s, that they handle transactions and stuff, say on different chains, as in like ETH or other things like that. But, they're on Bitcoin itself as well. And like I said, I like those UTXO models, but here, I'm going to bring this up too. Hold on. But yeah, like I was saying, it's just, I feel like I guess they haven't been really in sync. It's almost like separate ecosystems, but yet everything is on top of Bitcoin. And that's kind of why I'm bringing this up today and I want to talk about it. Because, there's been a lot of movement on stacks, the stacks ecosystem itself. If you guys aren't familiar with stacks, it's STX is the ticker. Stacks has been moving very hard. And, just going back to like that post, if this guy's really thinking like billions, hundreds of billions of dollars is going to flow into Bitcoin DeFi, especially if institutions, real players want to start, really getting into DeFi on Bitcoin specifically, they're going to need a really good layer that can actually handle a lot of DeFi. And I think STX, and I guess its whole ecosystem around it, definitely something that, I've faded pretty hard over the last few months. But I think this is actually going to be a major player just throughout the rest of the bull run. Because, like I said, I've been a hyper bull on, UTXO models, as in BRC20s, SRC20s, even atomicals, like all these. But stacks and stuff is something I never looked into. And I want to bring this stuff up because, they've just been going crazy. So we got stacks, part of their ecosystem here. And shout out to Call Me Hunch if you know who this is, YouTuber. I'm going to link him in the description. You know, he's very bullish on Stacks ecosystem. He's been pushing it for a long time. You know, he's mainly why I've been looking heavily into it, because, you know, these gains, they don't stop, you know. Obviously, I've focused my attention on many different places in the market, not just Bitcoin DeFi, but, you know, this has just been one avenue of Bitcoin DeFi that I haven't really paid attention to a whole lot. So we got Stacks. Another one is Alex, which Alex Lab is another, honestly, just a major player on the Stacks ecosystem. This just brings a lot of DeFi into this ecosystem itself, but huge player as well. And obviously you can see this has just been going crazy too. I don't think this is going to stop either. I'd say these two for now. There's definitely a bunch of smaller projects. I'm not going to get into it because I haven't done, you know, I haven't looked super drastically into the ecosystem yet. But, you know, these are just two major players right now in this ecosystem. You know, it's worth something to bring up because it's, you know, I just look at it, if everyone's trying to build in some sort of way on top of Bitcoin, you know, I personally just want to be supporting that, even if it's not on top of Bitcoin itself. You know, bottom line, gains are gains, and if you guys can find gains in different avenues, even if it's still surrounding the same exact type of thing, Bitcoin DeFi, you know, that's what I like to see, you know. And so we got another one too. So that was Stacks. Stacks ecosystem has been crushing it. Like I said, I've kind of faded that for a while, but it's something I'm definitely going to be looking into more and watching pretty heavily. Because even Welsh is a meme coin on top of, I think, Stacks. I don't know if it's Stacks itself, but it's a meme coin out there. One of the first major meme coins on Bitcoin itself. So that's definitely a very hype coin to be watching as well. And so we can go this website, Aave or Aave.ai, AVE.ai. So you got a bunch of different tokens here too. And I actually just started like looking into this and trying to use this, so bear with me here. So the other thing I want to cover is Merlin Chain. You know, so there's been a lot of good and bad things about Merlin Chain. You know, I have no say. I'm no negative, no positive about it. I personally have been on the sidelines, you know, because I didn't do my due diligence early. And, you know, like I said, I've been focusing all of my time on AI recently, because a lot of AI coins have been popping off. You know, our Discord's been going crazy with that stuff. You know, so we've just been sticking to what works and what works well for me. It's just at the current moment, but, you know, we have seen a lot of momentum too on Merlin Chain, because I think I'm going to pull up Merlin Chain here too, because they got some crazy valuation right now sitting on top of the Merlin Chain. And I think close to the halving, most of that TVL is going to be unlocked or something like that. Like, don't take my word for it. They just got airdropped this token Voya too, I think. Yeah, but you know what, Merlin Chain, it's bottom line, like whether people like it or not, you know, it's people are gravitating to it, you know, the numbers don't lie, and that's mainly what I focus on with this, you know. But again, I'm not going to cover crazy with Merlin Chain, go into anything like that. But let's see, if we go back to Aave AI, so there is a major meme coin on here called Hoo, which I faded again, but I'm pretty sure it's on a massive dip right now. Yeah, so it's down 44%, which honestly I think for a long-term entry is probably a beautiful entry. Yeah, like that looks gorgeous, I'm not gonna lie. Like, this is gonna be the entry of the century, guys. If you're bullish on Merlin Chain, you're bullish on, I guess, this whole ecosystem itself, this is going to be your dip to buy. Like, I just wouldn't wait. You know, I don't think this is going anywhere unless this is like some major FUD on Hoo or whatever's going on with it. But in my opinion, like the chart just looks great, guys. Maybe it comes down a little bit lower, but I don't think it's going much lower from here. This is probably going to bounce, do something, probably run again. But also, too, you guys got to keep in mind, if Bitcoin starts really pulling back heavy, everything's gonna pull back with it. So always like understand that too. Market conditions are so important, you know, because obviously the last few weeks Bitcoin has just been going like this, barely moving up and down, which is why we've seen so many micro caps, so many alts everywhere just fly, you know. But once Bitcoin starts to really decide to move up or down, usually it's gonna be, you know, most altcoins are gonna start bleeding against it. That's kind of just how it's been for a while. But anyways, I'm not gonna go into Merlin Chain like much at all here. Like I said, the numbers, they don't lie. There's a lot of value locked on Merlin Chain. You know, a lot of good people pushing it too. But again, I have no negative or positive about it. But yeah, Hoo is, it's a good entry, I'm not gonna lie. This is golden entry. So anyways, I want to cover BRC20s, SRC20s as well. You know, because we've recently had OKX as well. I don't even know, maybe OKX and other platforms have really been kicking off, like talking about, you know, Bitcoin stamps and stuff lately. Like Bitcoin stamps have just been going wild. Not actually like price-wise or anything, but, you know, I feel like stamps as an ecosystem is starting to pick up pretty heavily right now. You know, if you go to stamp scan, let's see what we got here. You know, because we just got, obviously, Kevin's stamp, SWP here. You know, ST map is out here. Got a bunch of different tokens here, you know. I just think it just needs more exposure, and as long as people continue to build, you know, it's from here, it's just going to be a long-term game, you know. I think stamps are going to eventually have a nice push. And BRC20s, though, this is what I want to mainly bring up too, because obviously you guys know I'm super bullish on BRC20s. Even though they're kind of dead, they've definitely faded out very hard. You know, and the thing is, you know, I can't really do anything about that. The market kind of decides that for us all, which, you know, it's pretty annoying. But again, I'm still very bullish. I still hold almost all my bags. Like, I just have conviction, you know. But another thing too I want to bring up is, I know a lot of people are worried about even like runes. When runes come out, what's going to happen to Bitcoin DeFi, all these projects, stuff like that. But honestly, I think as time goes on, you know, it's going to be the same thing throughout the cycle. There's going to be waves still, in my opinion, of everything. BRC20s, you know, because now they're fairly accessible, and BRC20s are fairly equivalent to like ordinals. You know, they're just fungible tokens of ordinals, and ordinals themselves are here to stay. Those are probably going to be the NFTs on Bitcoin for this cycle, and that's a huge factor in why I really don't think BRC20s themselves, like, they're not going to just go anywhere, you know, like, they're going to stay. They're not, I really don't think they're going to go like to zero, go down, anything like that, you know, because a lot of people are claiming that, oh, like, runes are coming out, like, BRC20s are going to be dead, stamps dead. Like, honestly, I don't believe that at all, because at the same time, they're just different protocols being built, you know, just to push Bitcoin and Bitcoin or DeFi on Bitcoin itself, you know, and whether, you know, different UTXO models, meta protocols, you know, ecosystems, you know, if they have new tech, new development, you know, it's all pushing the same thing, the same narrative, you know. And honestly, BRC20s are definitely known by the greater bunch of people now in the market, you know, in comparison to other stuff right now. And I still have very high conviction. Like, even still one of them, like, I'm going to bring up a couple here, Turt. This is what I want to bring up mainly with BRC20s is I've talked about it before. But if you guys, like, just look at these charts, most of these coins are completely dead, as in bottomed out. You know, and that is an opportunity for, you know, unbelievable moves to the upside, unreal gains in the long term. You know, I'm not saying it's a literal, like, full out buy right now. But BRC20 is, like I said, they're still projects, they're still developing, they're still building. Like Turt here, like I said, they're still so active on social media. You know, they're still doing part, like they're launching coins with their launch pad, you know. Like there's still an ecosystem behind it. Like just because the price is down, you know, it doesn't mean that these projects and people behind it aren't still building, you know. Because worst case, a lot of these projects, what I really think would happen is they'd migrate, or, you know, they do what they can to work to better themselves as a project, you know. Say BRC20s for some reason, they do start dying out. You know, like for some odd reason, they just start going down. No one wants to buy them anymore. You say runes is like the most hype thing, you know. You know, I feel like most projects that are very serious about building, which are the projects that I like to invest in anyways, you know, the ones that are serious about building, they will adapt. They will adapt to whatever is needed in this market, especially just going into this bull run. I think they'd be crazy not to, but at the same time, like I'm saying, there's going to be many different protocols that do different things. You know, some might be better at other things than other protocols, but they're all pushing the same narrative. And like I said, most of these charts are literally bottomed. I'm trying to think of another one. Is Multibit here too. This is huge. This was popular, you know, literally a couple months ago. But like if you look at this chart, it's completely bottomed again, you know. And in my opinion, like this is not even close to the end for these coins, for this narrative. Because like I said, even Track is basically building runes, building most of the stuff behind runes. And you know, Track is a BRC20 itself, as well as obviously on exchanges and stuff like that now. But you know, it's like the team and the project behind runes, which is going to come out, they're not even on runes. They probably will be or something. I don't know. You know, they're not even on runes. They're on BRC20. So to call BRC20s dead, I think people are just like low-key tapped out. You can't say that because they're not. But anyways, that's kind of what I wanted to bring up. Is like I was saying, these charts are absolutely bottomed and honestly primed for long-term moves to the upside. But again, it's going to be interesting to see what Bitcoin does over the next couple months here. Because initially when we saw the hype for these, you know, these pumped while Bitcoin pumped, you know. And I'd honestly like to see BRC20s, you know, and just, I guess these meta protocols really pick up again. But in due time, I feel like they eventually will come around again. I think when runes pop off too, something you guys should be thinking about is runes are going to have a completely new hype narrative around them. There's going to be probably hundreds, if not thousands, of new runes tokens that are going to be minted. A lot of projects I feel like that are BRC20s or SRC20s are going to be building now on runes. You know, they're going to start implementing you know, their protocol, what they're doing, because they want to, you know, they want to be on the next major protocol, you know what I mean? So it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out, but there's going to be a ton of opportunity, and that's coming right when the Bitcoin halving happens, which is sometime in April to my knowledge, maybe a little later, but I think it's in some point in like mid-April is my guess. But yeah, as far as these ecosystems, that's what I got for you guys today. You know, just wanted to show you guys some charts, bring that stuff up. You know, because there's just opportunity everywhere, you know. Always opportunity in this market. You know, you could be in the Stacks ecosystem, absolutely crushing it. You know, you could be on Merlin Chain. They've been crushing it, getting airdrops, all this different stuff. You know, you could just be killing it too in other niches, other narratives. You know, like I always say too. But again, like I said, I obviously heavily into Bitcoin DeFi, but also I like focusing on many narratives across the board because I like to diversify in that aspect because not every narrative is going to pump at the same time. You know, we saw BRC20s and that whole narrative pump, you know, whatever, November, December, right? And we've seen AI like GPU coins have been going wild this month, you know, over the last week and a half. You know, so everything moves at different times, and if you know how to time this, and then that, and then this, and all these different narratives, you know, if you're just paying attention, you can catch so many different things, you know. So that's why I like to focus my attention in many different narratives like that. But bottom line, that's what I wanted to bring up for you guys. Just, you know, a whole market update with these ecosystems, because there's opportunity everywhere, like I said. And if you guys want to look into, you know, different coins on Merlin Chain, on stacks, you know, I'm gonna type the website here, because I always do that. I never show my bar. The website is ave.ai. Literally like 5 letters. You can type that into your browser. That'll take you to this website. They got Merlin Chain stuff here. You could also go to Sat Screener, which I'm gonna type that in right here. satscreener.com. Type that into your browser. You can look up a bunch of different stacks, tokens, stuff like that. We got ordinals, Tap. Oh yeah, Tap is another ecosystem too I haven't even talked about. But Tap's pretty interesting as well. But that's what we got for you guys today, and I'll see you in the next one. So I appreciate it.